Hi students, hi everyone. This video will explain about light independent reaction. So the learning outcome from this video, we should be able to explain Kelvin cycle involving carbon fixation, reduction and regeneration of RuBP, which is ribulose biphosphate. Light independent reaction, also known as Kelvin cycle. Another name for Kelvin cycle is C3 pathway. The C3 refers to the first product of Kelvin cycle, which is the 3-carbon compound known as 3-phosphoglycerate. Kelvin cycle occur in stroma of chloroplast of the C3 plants during daylight, but the light energy is not directly required, meaning that it can occur during daylight or it can occur at night. Okay, even though it happens in the daylight, but the light energy is not directly required during the cycle. Okay, what does Kelvin cycle need? Kelvin cycle needs carbon dioxide and ADPH plus H plus, or the reduced NADP plus and ADP. The carbon dioxide will be reduced to organic molecules through a process named as carbon fixation. And ADPH is needed as reducing agent, while ATP is needed as the source of energy. The product of Kelvin cycles include glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate G3P. Still remember this name? We have learned about G3P or came across the glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate in glycolysis. So the product includes glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, which is the starting point for the synthesis of other carbohydrate, meaning it will be used to form carbohydrate. So the fact that we need to know, for a net synthesis of 1 G3P, the Kelvin cycle need to run 3 times. So each time Kelvin cycle is run, it will use 1 carbon dioxide. So to produce G3P, it needs 3 carbon dioxide. So it needs 3 times run of Kelvin cycle. So to produce 1 glucose, because G3P is 3 carbon molecule, in order to produce glucose, we need 2 molecules of 3 carbon molecule. That's why we need 6 times run of Kelvin cycle. And for that, we need 6 molecules of carbon dioxide for carbon fixation. Kelvin cycle is important to convert carbon dioxide to a more complex organic compound, example carbohydrates. We have learned that carbohydrate comes in a few types or classes like monosaccharide, disaccharide. Okay? There are 3 phases that we need to remember in Kelvin cycle. The first one is the carbon fixation. The second phase is reduction. And the third phase is regeneration of carbon dioxide acceptor, not the carbon dioxide, but the acceptor for the carbon dioxide, which is the ribulose biphosphate. This is the schematic diagram of a Kelvin cycle that divides the three phases, phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 based on different colors. Phase 1, carbon fixation. It happens when carbon dioxide is combined with a 5-carbon molecule known as RuBP, the Ribulose biphosphate, which is the carbon acceptor. So each one carbon dioxide will combine with one RuBP. So if we want to produce G3P, we need to use 3 carbon dioxide, so it will bind with 3 molecules of RuBP. For each one carbon dioxide that binds to the one RuBP is 5 carbon sugar. So 1 carbon molecule plus 5 carbon molecule, it will produce an unstable 6 carbon intermediate molecule. This carbon fixation is catalyzed by an enzyme named RuBP carboxylase oxidase, also known as RuBisco. Each unstable 6-carbon intermediate molecule will immediately split into half. 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 will split into 3 carbon molecule. The 3 carbon molecule is 3-phosphoglycerate. So there will be 6 molecules of 3-phosphoglycerate. It's all about mathematics. 3 carbon plus 3 times 5 carbon, which is 15, and 3. So the number would be 18 carbon. Since the 6 carbon molecule is not stable, it will split into a 3 carbon molecule. So how many 3 carbon molecule? Divided by 3. We should have 6 molecules of 3 carbon molecule. So when 3 carbon dioxide combine with 3 RuBP, it will produce 6 3-phosphoglycerate. The second phase. After 3-phosphoglycerate is formed, it will get into the second phase, which is the reduction phase. Reduction phase happens when the 3-phosphoglycerate receive one phosphate group from the ATP, forming 1,3-biphosphoglycerate. The phosphate group comes from the hydrolysis of ATP. This is where the ATP is used. The ATP comes from the light-dependent reaction. So in this reaction, 6 ATP molecules are required because there are 6 3-phosphoglycerate. Remember? So we need for each 3-phosphoglycerate, 1 ATP is used. Then an ADPH will donate the electrons to reduce the molecules, the phosphorylated molecules, which is the 1,3-biphosphoglycerate. Okay, the 3-phosphoglycerate receive one phosphate from the ATP, becomes 1,3-biphosphoglycerate. Then 1,3-biphosphoglycerate will be reduced by NADPH to glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. The number of the molecules maintain 6. So since we have 6 3-phosphoglycerate phosphorylated by ATP becoming 1,3-biphosphoglycerate, and we have 6 1,3-biphosphoglycerate. 1,3-biphosphoglycerate reduced by 6 NADPH and converted into 6 molecules of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. So NADPH oxidized since it's already donated the electron and the proton, oxidized to NADP plus, and it will return to the light-dependent reaction. So now we have glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. Okay, the next phase is the regeneration. For every 3 carbon molecules that enter the cycle, there will be 6 molecules of G3P formed. From 6 out of 6 molecules of G3P, 1 will exit Calvin cycle to be synthesized into glucose. The remaining 5 of the G3P will continue the cycle into the next phase. So, since to produce glucose, we need 6 times run of Calvin cycles because we need 2 molecule G3P, right? So for each 3 carbon dioxide, we can only produce 6 G3P. Out of 6, 1 will be used to form glucose. So to produce glucose, we need 2 GTP. So to get 2 G3P, we need to double this. Double everything out. So 6 carbon dioxide should produce 12 G3P. Out of 12, 2 G3P will come out of the Calvin cycle to be converted into glucose or fructose. The rest, the 10 molecules, will continue the Calvin cycle to the next phase. The NADP plus and ADP formed during Calvin cycle will return to the thylakoids to regenerate NADPH and ATP so that another Calvin cycle can continue. Okay, the phase 3, regeneration of the Ribulose biphosphate. So the G3P, since we are talking about 6, 1 will go out of the Calvin cycle. Another 5 G3P will be regenerated or rearranged to regenerate Ribulose biphosphate. Since Ribulose biphosphate is 5 carbon molecules, we have 5 molecules of G3P, which is 3 carbon molecules. So this is 15 carbon. Mathematically, we should know that how many RuBP can we produce from this? Divide by 5, so we should get, divide by 5, we should get 3 RuBP back for the Calvin cycle. Okay? So the 5 molecules of G3P are rearranged to regenerate 3 molecules of RuBP. 3 ATP molecules are required in this phase. And RuBP then will ready to enter the cycle again. Remember, sebab kita explain the earlier we explain we use 3 carbon dioxide combined with 3 RuBP. So in the end we need to reproduce 3 RuBP again. So it is about mathematics. The number lah. Okay. Overall Kelvin cycle, the net synthesis of 1G3P uses 3 carbon dioxide, 9 ATP, 6 Na DPH. So it will produce 1G3P. In order to produce a glucose or a fructose, we need to times 2. So the G3P can be used to produce carbohydrate or amino acid or also lipid. Selalu soalan akan sentuh tentang carbohydrate. Explain why poison that inhibit an enzyme of Kelvin cycle will also inhibit the light reaction. If Kelvin cycle cycle is inhibited, so it cannot reproduce the NADP plus, right? And also ADP. So these two molecules need to be produced so that it can go back to light dependent reaction. If we don't have an ADP plus, then how come light dependent reaction can occur? Okay, itu untuk non-cyclic, because non-cyclic involve the production of NADPH. But for ADP, involve cyclic and non-cyclic autophosphorylation. So if we don't have enough ADP, then there will be no meaning to start the light dependent reaction. Understand? You can ask me further by asking question under the video. I will explain. Thank you.